Welcome to our 2024 presidential election update. Today, we're analyzing the latest polling data, looking at the showdown between Donald Trump and Kamala Harris. We'll break down who's leading in the race, with a comprehensive analysis of all 50 states to keep you informed and up to date. Let's get started. Wisconsin. In Wisconsin, Trump leads by a slim margin of 0.7%, with 48.7% to Harris's 48%. This state remains a highly competitive battleground. Alaska. Trump is ahead in Alaska with 50% of the vote, while Harris trails with 43%. His 7% lead indicates this state remains Republican-leaning. California. Kamala Harris dominates in her home state of California, leading with 59% compared to Trump's 34.3%. She holds a strong lead of 24.7% in this Democratic stronghold. Minnesota. In Minnesota, Harris leads by 6.5% with 49.8% to Trump's 43.3%. This state is leaning toward the Democrats, but it's still competitive. New Mexico. Kamala Harris leads by 6% in New Mexico with 49.6% of the vote compared to Trump's 43.5%. This southwestern state appears to favor Harris. Utah. Trump is leading in Utah with 54% of the vote, while Harris is at 38%, giving Trump a 16% advantage in this solidly Republican state. Maine District 2 inches. Trump holds a narrow lead in Maine's 2nd congressional district with 48% compared to Harris's 47%, leading by just 1%. Missouri. In Missouri, Trump leads with 53.5% of the vote, while Harris trails with 42%. His 11.5% lead shows Missouri remains a Republican stronghold. Arkansas's Trump leads comfortably in Arkansas with 55% to Harris's 40%, giving him a solid 15% advantage. Oklahoma. Trump holds a strong lead in Oklahoma with 56% of the vote compared to Harris's 40%. His 16% lead reflects Oklahoma's Republican base. Nebraska. In Nebraska, Trump leads with 54% of the vote, while Harris is at 37%, giving Trump a 17% lead. West Virginia. Trump is far ahead in West Virginia with 61% of the vote, compared to Harris's 34%, giving him a 27% lead in this strongly Republican. Vermont. Kamala Harris is dominating in Vermont with 70% of the vote, while Trump lags far behind with 29%. Harris's 41% lead makes this a solid Democratic state. Arizona. Arizona remains a battleground state with Trump leading by 2%. He has 47% of the vote, while Harris trails closely behind at 46%. Maryland. Harris holds a commanding lead in Maryland with 62% to Trump's 32%, giving her a 29% advantage in this Democratic stronghold. Michigan. Michigan is tied with both Trump and Harris polling at 47.8%. This Rust Belt state remains a critical battleground. New Hampshire. Harris leads in New Hampshire with 51% of the vote, while Trump has 43%, giving her a 9% lead in this northeastern state. Oregon. In Oregon, Harris is ahead with 53% compared to Trump's 41%, holding a 12% lead in this typically Democratic state. Texas. Trump leads in Texas with 50% of the vote, while Harris is close behind, with 45%. Trump's 5% lead shows. Texas is still competitive. Washington. Kamala Harris is leading in Washington with 56% to Trump's 35%, giving her a 20% advantage in this Democratic-leaning state. Florida. Trump leads in Florida with 51% of the vote, while Harris is at 44%, giving Trump a 7% lead in this crucial battleground state. Georgia. In Georgia, Trump is ahead by just 1%, with 48% to Harris's 47%. This southern state is proving to be extremely competitive. North Carolina. Trump leads narrowly in North Carolina with 47.9% to Harris's 47.4%, giving him a 0.5% advantage in this swing state. Ohio. In Ohio, Trump leads with 51% of the vote compared to Harris's 44%, giving him a solid 6% lead in this key battleground. Nevada. Nevada is currently tied with both Trump and Harris, polling at 46%, making it a true toss-up state. Pennsylvania. Kamala Harris is ahead in Pennsylvania by a razor-thin margin of 0.3% with 47.9% compared to Trump's 47.6%. This state is a critical battleground. Massachusetts. In Massachusetts, Harris is leading with 60.5% of the vote, while Trump trails with 32%, giving her a 28.5% lead in this Democratic stronghold. Tennessee. Trump leads comfortably in Tennessee with 56% of the vote, while Harris is at 35%, giving him a 21% lead. Montana. Trump is leading in Montana with 58% of the vote, while Harris has 39%, giving him a 19% advantage. Virginia. Harris leads in Virginia with 50% of the vote, while Trump is at 42.4%, giving her a 7.6% lead in this important battleground state. Iowa. Trump leads in Iowa with 49% of the vote compared to Harris's 44%, giving him a 5% lead. North Dakota. In North Dakota, Trump leads by 27% with 59% of the vote compared to Harris's 32%, securing a strong Republican advantage. South Carolina. Trump leads in South Carolina with 52% of the vote, while Harris has 42%, giving him a 10% lead in this Republican-leaning state. At Indiana. Trump is ahead in Indiana with 56% of the vote, while Harris has 39.5%, giving him a 16.5% lead. Nebraska District 2 inches. Kamala Harris leads in Nebraska's 2nd congressional district with 50% compared to Trump's 42.3%, giving her an 8.4% lead. Delaware. Harris leads comfortably in Delaware with 55% of the vote, while Trump trails with 36.5%, giving her an 18.5% lead. New York. In New York, Harris leads with 54.5% to Trump's 41%, giving her a 13.5% lead in this Democratic stronghold. Colorado. Harris leads in Colorado with 53% of the vote compared to Trump's 42%, giving her an 11% lead in this swing state. Connecticut. Harris leads in Connecticut with 57% to Trump's 41%, giving her a 16% lead. Rhode Island. In Rhode Island, Harris leads with 57% of the vote compared to Trump's 40.5%, giving her a 16.5% lead. Maine. Kamala Harris is leading in Maine with 54% of the vote, while Trump has 41%, giving her a 13% lead in the state overall. Alabama. Trump dominates in Alabama with 58% of the vote, while Harris is at 38%, giving him a 20% lead. Kansas. Trump leads in Kansas with 55% of the vote compared to Harris's 39%, giving him a 16% advantage in this Republican state. South Dakota. Trump holds a significant lead in South Dakota with 62% to Harris's 32%, giving him a 30% lead. Hawaii. Kamala Harris is leading in Hawaii with 58% of the vote, while Trump has 36%, giving her a 22% lead in this Democratic stronghold. Illinois. Harris leads in Illinois with 55% to Trump's 40%, giving her a 15% advantage. Wyoming. Trump leads overwhelmingly in Wyoming with 65% of the vote, while Harris trails at 28%, giving him a 37% lead. Idaho. Trump holds a commanding lead in Idaho with 60% of the vote compared to Harris's 34%, giving him a 26% advantage. Maine District 1 inch. Harris leads strongly in Maine's 1st district with 61% of the vote compared to Trump's 34%, giving her a 27% lead. And that's the current state of the race between Donald Trump and Kamala Harris. As you can see, it's a tight contest in many battleground states, with both candidates showing strength in key regions. Will the trends hold, or will we see some surprises?